Are you ready for Combat Night?
All right, what's up, guys? Thanks for joining us. We are fresh off of our first amateur event in Fort Lauderdale. I'm glad everyone made it home safe and sound. We decided to hit the road last night, got back about 3 a.m., but I was glad to be home this morning.
Oh wait, I mean you're only going up to Orlando. It's like 2.5 hours. Not that bad.
And that's
But
3
wait,
hours and 40 minutes.
where in Orlando are you at?
I'm in Lake Mary.
Oh, okay.
So you got to cut all the way across Orlando.
Gotcha. I understand.
And I'm pulling a trailer, so that's a little bit slower sledding than probably how you speed demons hit the road. Miles,
You got some more.
I was gonna say, Miles, did you end up staying over, or did you?
No, I drove back this morning, afternoon. My mom made breakfast for me and the kids. It took me maybe just under 3 hours, like two hours and 50 something minutes. Like,
if I stay, I have a tendency for it to become, we went to brunch, and
next thing you know, it's Monday morning.
Right, and then it's like, we didn't get back till 5 p.m. the whole day.
Yeah, I was like, I'll make it in time for the Super Bowl and to dinner.
So man, we had some fantastic fights last night. Like I said, it was our first amateur event of the year, and after that Orlando card, South Florida had some stepping up to do, and they didn't come short. We had some fantastic fights, so we'll just talk it through from the main event back, starting with our main event, which was a welterweight title bout between Joel Groves and our champ Lance Evans, who was unseated after that fight. Great contest between those guys. Joel Groves showed some real grit and control, and was able to pick up the unanimous decision over Lance.
Yeah, man. Like, Evans was the more dynamic movement. He had more dynamic striking. He landed really clean, but he couldn't get out of Groves' way. Groves would throw 2 or 3 big shots. He had a really good left hand that landed pretty consistently. And when he put Evans on the fence, Evans was on the fence. He did a good job keeping himself up, but he couldn't escape his grip. Even in the third, when he could turn out, Grove put him right back. He doesn't have an answer for the power. I don't know if it was the power or the pressure, because Evans still looked fresh. It just looked like he couldn't get anywhere.
Yeah, I think it was the sheer pressure that Groves was allowed to, like you mentioned, press Evans up against the cage, because there really wasn't any damage. It's not like, he landed more shots, or not even like a whole bunch of, takedowns, just his ability to just, pressure him. I guess like the aggression of like going for something. It's like, who do you give the round to? The person who keeps on attempting but unsuccessful, or the person who keeps on, defending?
After the first round, I had Groves like really trying to take him down. But I think when Evans showed how good his defense was, Groves just stopped trying to take him down. I think almost the entirety of the second and third was just focused on keeping him there. I think he realized he couldn't keep up in the striking. Evans was too mobile. He was making him miss too much and making him pay. So unless he got a one-hitter quitter, he wasn't going to keep it there. But he could dominate him against the fence, and he did. It was very smart. I really wish he could have got him down. We'd have seen a lot more of a scrap, but he did what he needed to do to get a W. I can't fault him for it.
Yeah, Lance, like you were saying, he had great movement, and in space, he was getting the better of the striking, and he was doing some like heavy work inside striking when they were away from the cage, which was, prompting Groves to get him up against the cage where he couldn't escape. So
we chatted a lot, head position. If Evans could have just gotten his forehead in Groves' neck, he could have had the space to get off the fence. People totally underestimate the importance of like inside the tie.
But so congrats to Groves taking home the welterweight title, and putting on a fantastic performance. And he had more fights than Evans, and so that was his 8th fight to Evans's his 5th. Just a little bit more experience, and he put it on display there. Prior to that, we had a bantamweight bout between Ruben Baez and David Tercero, and those guys were doing it all. A couple of studs, super dynamic, super explosive, and Ruben picked up a blistering knockout.
Dude, Ruben looked fantastic. Like, his striking is awkward. It kind of loops like in this weird way. Like, he shoots it like from a little low. But whatever it is, he is catching people with it. They can't read it right. He's catching them behind their guard or like on a fade. And he can crack, man. He's sent people stumbling on more than one occasion. You know, we rewatched the finish on this quite a few times. The most effective strikes landed behind the ear, obviously not intentional, but you know, Tercero's ducking and he's getting clipped on the back. Like, crazy impact though. Like, that would have hurt you anywhere.
Yeah.
Ruben was on him like a dog. He allowed him no space. I think that's what impressed me the most about Ruben. His striking improved drastically, but the way he was like connecting, he wasn't just wrestling or striking. You know, he was tying up, striking on the inside. They'd wrestle, break off, strike on their exit. He was really, really hot in those short spots, and he did a great job there.
Yeah, that was to be expected. I feel as though anytime you have, you know, two grapplers coming in it, you know, it's like, okay, whoever your grappling cancels out, whoever's going to mix it up the most with the striking. And like you mentioned before, that's kind of like what because I've seen Ruben a couple of times, and I was like, man, your grappling is good, right? But then utilize your hands too, right? Give your opponent something to think about. Don't, like in the past, and that's the good thing about, you know, Combat Night 2, when you start to see more and more fighters develop. Like in the past, he would just shoot in from halfway across, you know, the cage. I was like, don't be afraid, you know, throw 2-3 strikes and then shoot in. Like, so it's good to see that him and over there at the Treasure Coast Cartel, he's been able to work on his striking, you know, combine it. Because at the next level, this is, you know, MMA, mixed martial arts, right? You can't just be so, you know, one-dimensional focused on one area. Everybody can't be like Khabib, where it's just all-out grappling. You got to mix it up. And I think his opponent definitely, you know, thought about that. Okay, man, this guy isn't all grappler versus grappler. But then we was coming with those bombs. Okay, do I need to keep my hands up to watch out for these punches, or do I need to, you know, get ready to sprawl and get those underhooks?
Man, Ruben put him in a position where he didn't have an option but to shoot. And you forget, Ruben's a damn good wrestler, man. Fantastic performance. Tercero was no bitch. He was landing well on Ruben. Ruben just wore it way better and fired back meaner. But both, really solid performance from both. Ruben
is a guy that's been taking advantage of the opportunities. That was his 10th amateur fight. He's only 20 years old. And I don't know if he said last night he was going pro next, or maybe he's taking one more and then going pro, but
he has to.
Yeah, he said one more. I was like, to me, you could go right now. Like,
so I ran into Dan in the facilities, in the laboratory, and I was like, Ruben's got to go pro now. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna have to force him. He's always just like, oh, I'll get one more, I'll get better, I'll get one more, I'll get better. He's like, dude, it's okay. We can just build you up in the pros. It's okay. Like, but I think Ruben might be like obsessed to competition, like, which is oftentimes a problem for a new pro. You know, you're restarting, and now your record counts forever. So yeah, we were fighting really tough guys as an amateur, right? But as an amateur, you were 7-3. Now as a pro, you're 0-0. You got to build something up before you risk it. It's bad business to go in there taking super hard fights and fucking your record up in the very beginning.
Yeah. And you know, I think he's done a great job of fighting different types of fighters. We know he's been great on the ground. We've from, you know, the get-go, we've seen progression in his stand-up, and he's faced opponents of varying calibers, and his last 3 fights have been against, you know, studs.
He doesn't fight chumps, man. I don't think a single one of his fights was like a total, okay, 1 or 2. But even so, 10 fights in, 2 is a great percentage. And
his last 2 wins were in dominant performances with, you know, fantastic finishes. So Ruben's, you know, I think he's got the goods. I look forward to whenever he does make that turn to pro, and, you know, starts getting to use you know, all the tools, because on the amateur side of things, he's been having some great success. Before that, we had a light heavyweight bout with Davis Marchus and Xander Heim. Xander Heim picked up a rear naked choke finish in round 2. that was they were thugging it out.
Yeah, that was as
They
say, a
were.
slobber knocker. Like, I think just from the very jump, especially when it comes to like, I feel like light heavyweights and heavyweights, it's like they may not necessarily have the best cardio, so they come and knowing that they're like, all right, we don't want this to go, all 3 rounds. Like, let's get it done in the first, or maybe like early on in the second, and that's definitely how they came out, swinging. And I think it just came down to going into the second round. Zanderheim just had a little bit more of edge of the cardio, so that's why he was able, as soon as he get in the back there of Davis, he was able to choke him out. Davis really didn't have anything that much left to even fight it off.
Yeah, Davis's tank was empty by the end of it. But Xander, like the whole time, looked like he had some real beef. Like he was yelling at him across the ring. He was like talking trash, like as he was pacing around. When the fight was over, he's like standing over him, yelling. Like, so either you're a dick or there's some beef. I'm not sure what.
And I think some people just, because afterwards they were cool, but I think some people in the moment, they just need to like hype themselves up. So like, I hate you. Like me, I never was like that. Maybe I should have been. Maybe that's what I needed. But like, I never, like, I've never hated anybody I've faced before. Like,
Man, I wasn't like a young competitor. Like I got into this kind of older, but I always took it like whenever my manager told me like someone signed the contract, I'd be like, they did? Like they thought they could beat me up? Like why would you do that to yourself? Like that was like my real thought.
mm-hmm.
So I felt insulted.
You want a piece of me?
This guy over here.
All right. Before that, we had a catchweight bout, a teen title bout. This was kind of some unique circumstances and an interesting rule set, which I'll let you explain, Ben. But it was between Isaiah Triana and Sebastian Seminario. Both of these guys were, 14 years old. They were in incredible shape. Both of them had great experience, and they fought to their rule set and put on a great performance.
So I gotta say this first of all. Isaiah was having a documentary done about him, but he didn't even fill out our info sheets. So we literally had nothing to announce about him for a show that they are using to make a documentary. Like, who set this? Come on, man. It's 5 minutes. So, sorry. I know you wanted to say something, but I'll take that bullet for you because that's nuts. But so what we were dealing with was sport MMA. So there's only one commission in the country that I know of that allows full contact for minors, and well, they're not around us. So we fight under sport MMA rules for the minors, which means no strikes to the head, not standing nor on the ground. Now, in some of the tournaments that I saw early on, you were allowed 2 submissions for a win. I don't know if that's still the case, and I don't believe that would be the case at this level. Isaiah has something like 30 fights in this rule set. Sebastian fought in Bolivia. I believe he's undefeated, 7-0. And I'm pretty sure in Bolivia you can fight full rules MMA. Because they don't have the same commission system as us. So that might have been another thing for Sebastian. Now, if I remember correctly, Isaiah's opponent backed out, and Sebastian, who actually trains with him, accepted the fight. Now, Sebastian's a stud. He did our IKF tournament a couple weeks ago, and I was like, "Why are you here?" I'll introduce you to Mitch and Rich. We'll get you guys on a fight card for real. Like, we're happy to have you, but like, this isn't what you're looking for. Let me send you in the right place, And so I was happy to see him here. He looked awesome. I give him a team kickboxing fight, and dude, fireworks. He's really good. He'll be a great watch. So, but these guys went at it. They were beating the crap out of each other's stomachs. Isaiah was staying in the pocket with them. Sebastian is a bit bigger, a little stronger, and he's known for dropping people to the body. Isaiah stayed there right in the pocket and was working shots with them back to back. But when Isaiah decided to take it to the floor, Sebastian did not have an answer for him. When Isaiah got on top, he stayed on top. He dominated from side control, which in MMA is one of the more common places you would see people wrestle up because you can't control the hips. But he kept them clear. He got to mount. Isaiah fought a fantastic fight. He was very well rounded in there. Sebastian, very impressive too. It's awesome to see them. They're 14 years old, which is crazy.
Yeah, I say they should, run it back in 5 years, full blown MMA.
Yeah, that would be so cool. Or,
Yeah, that would
or
be cool.
if Isaiah's cool with it, do full contact kickboxing.
Yeah. I think it was a great display of one. They were both super professional in terms of like, just their face off and everything. It was like watching miniature men that have like some polish on their.
Yeah, and
it makes
for
a
young
heck of a
teenagers, they're pretty
on
big.
Monday.
That's got to be so weird. Like, I fought in college and going to class, and we fought at my college. At AFC was at the FAU gymnasium while I was an RA there. So that was a weird way to go back to class the next day. Dude, I remember being in the cafeteria and like this giant football player was like, "Hey, you that white boy I saw fight on TV?" Because the AV crew was the FAU.
Yeah, Owl TV. Yeah.
It was Owl TV. So it was on the school TV system all the time.
Yeah, they played the same over and over.
Dude, bro, my very first competition was filmed by the Owl TV crew when I was like 300 pounds or 275 pounds. It was horrible. That it would be on Owl TV at like 3 a.m. every other week. Like, even when I was down 120 pounds, people would be like, "Bro, is that you getting slammed on your head?" Like, yeah, it is. I wish I had that video, honestly.
But I guess these guys were just a testament to what the future of the sport is going to look like. With guys.
Do you think we can see more of that, like more teen MMA?
I don't know if that's obviously we're open to doing it. I don't know if that's the direction we're going in terms of,
of course,
that being a staple of our platform. But with outings like that, guys of that caliber, I think there will always be a slot open for it.
Like, I was chatting to Mitchell because I run these IKF tournaments, and I'm like, how do we team up in terms of like, we have 6 events this year in Broward. How do we have like the road to combat night? If you do X amount of like a point structure of something, which sets up its own bracket, and the finals are full contact. You know what I mean? Like, that would be. I mean, I don't know how much legwork something like that entails, but that would be really cool.
Yeah, I agree.
Take it from point to full contact.
Yeah, the best people in PKB go to combat night.
Yeah.
I think that, something that you've said before, Ben, is like in the progression of people getting involved in the sport. It's like, if you want to do MMA, then you should be doing some grappling tournaments, and you should be doing some, like IKF, PKB type of tournaments in preparation for that. So that it's kind of like the most optimal route would be to, to go through that
and the proof's in the pudding. When you look at some of the guys that we have fighting nowadays, like a lot of them do the IKF. Some of them still do in between fights. Like I can speak for myself, Kurt, Corey, they do the IKFs when they get lulls in competition. If they can't get booked, they throw a tournament in there just to stay fresh. But when we look at their records and their performances, they're all very good. And it's because they've done so many of these tournaments and competitions building up before jumping into the show. Like if you went pro and your first fight was in the UFC, you're going to have a really hard time.
Yeah, that's going to be a rough one. I see Tim Abdel Shahid in the chat. He said he did them. And Tim fighting next week in Tallahassee as a pro.
I'm bummed I'm missing Tim fight. He's always really entertaining.
Yeah, he is.
I wanted to see Tim fight and Make Money Not Friends Brian fight.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing both of those guys.
They're trying to get us to go to Tallahassee by booking good fights in Tallahassee.
And you know what they're doing? They're just taking all the Central Florida Orlando guys up there. That's pretty much all it is.
Now you have to go.
Like, you could have had this in Kissimmee in March.
All right. Prior to that bout, we had a welterweight bout between Jacques Baptiste and Jonathan Forbing. There's a couple of big welterweights. Jonathan Forbing picked up the win via unanimous decision. He's out of John Way Martial Arts. And these guys, Jonathan Forbing was able to establish like a ground control and just kind of, dominate his way through that fight.
He looked great. I don't think I've seen Forbing fight before, but he comes out of John Y, and they are consistently good performers. Their fighters are very sound. I'm stoked to see him. I hope he comes around more. He was a good watch. He's long, he's lanky, he's tall, he works well on the outside. He's got sharp hands, good kicks, good knees, and his top grappling looked really strong. When Baptiste got him on bottom, a little less impressive, but for the most part, he was a good watch. Baptiste couldn't handle the pressure on bottom. Forbing was all over him, and when he put Baptiste on the floor, he stayed. Forbing was crushing it. Good performance for him, man.
And prior to that, we had a featherweight boxing bout that was between Brian Uferes and Benny Bang Bang Paz. That was a super entertaining fight.
Did you call Benny Vinny?
Benny Bang
Vinny's
Bang.
the rapper.
No. Brian picked up the win via a brutal knockout in the third round. And it was a great contest throughout. Both guys were having their moments, but Brian really settled in the third round, got comfortable, and just started cracking.
Yeah, he definitely weathered the storm. That first round, I definitely get that first round and half of the second round. I definitely give it to Benny. He was definitely utilizing excellent, footwork, considering, the surgery that he came off of. You never would have thought of that. So he was just really picking his shots, moving around, stuff like that. And then somewhere along the lines of like the halfway through the second round, Brown was like, all right, you know what, man, enough is enough. He just, boom, laid it to him.
Actually, I think this is the fight where I was coming back to the booth from the back rooms. But actually, I ran into our ring girl, Janice, and she was like, Benny's taking too many shots. And then I turn around and he gets floored. But so what I noticed for the time I was there, Benny was coming in and he leans forward, right? And he's throwing big, heavy shots and he's landing them, but he's leaving himself exposed. So when Brian was coming up with those uppercuts and hooks, he was wide open. I think 2 of the times he got dropped, the second and the last, was off an uppercut on the inside, like coming underneath one of his shots.
Yeah, I think Brian has a more conventional boxing background, and Paz has, more like an MMA boxing style, and which was just, like you said, more wide open. And as the rounds progressed, like Pat was landing hard shots, throughout and finding his spots. But as the rounds progressed, that tighter, more like boxing style approach, Brian really settled in and just, started dropping hammers that stopped the show.
Whew. It was a hard finish to watch.
Yeah, so congrats to Brian picking up that knockout win.
Beautiful finish.
Prior to that, we had a featherweight bout between Corey Went and Omar Ferris. That was a hard-fought contest. Omar Ferris picked up the win via knockout over Corey Went, and he had quite a constituency of support in the crowd when he made his walk. The place kind of erupted.
Well, that's MMA science area. Those guys are down Commercial and like Hiatus or Nob Hill. So it's literally like 2 streets north and then 15 minutes west. Or 30 or so, whatever. They're close. So that's going to be where they show out the best. Broward County is really strong for them. And they had a squad last night. I think they had 6 fighters. Maybe
something
more.
Like
So what
we
you're
talked
saying
about at
is,
least 3 of them already.
If Omar fought in Orlando, you're saying that home crowd, that wouldn't translate if he fought against somebody in Central Florida? Is that what I'm hearing, Ben?
I don't think the MMA science guys travel that often.
Because I was about to ask, I was gonna add him to the list of the South Florida versus
Look,
Central
man,
Florida roster.
if you shoot him a good challenge, you know, hey, come up to Orlando. We've got a guy. Maybe there's a strap on the line, depending who you're talking about. Because again, they got a bunch of fights.
Yeah,
They got a bunch of fighters. You
and a
know,
lot of
they've got brand new
45.
guys to quite
Yeah.
seasoned. Yeah.
It's a lot of 45ers, 55ers. Like,
Yeah. Like, I'm sure they would travel, or at least some of them, you know, throw them an offer. So I taught at ATT Sunrise, which is now MMA Science, for like 7 or 8 years. And when fights came in, you took fights. You know, it was very old school in that way. Back in the day, they had a lot more guys that were like 50-50, but they've got their systems down, and we're seeing the progress that they're making, you know? But those guys scrap. They say yes to fights, period. So it would be cool. Like, there's some real good scraps between those boys and the dudes up in Orlando.
So I know, Omar was fighting your guy,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Corey. So just
Yeah.
in terms of your approach to the fight, like what was your plan, and maybe what did you see Omar did that he was able to capitalize on? And
So Corey's a long guy, and he uses a lot of footwork and mobility. He likes to use the ring. So the plan was to keep him at range. Omar was a little shorter, and so we wanted to play long. Corey does like to move backwards and lateral a lot, so it'll be active hands. When they weighed in, they were just about, like nose or so, roughly the same height. But when Omar was fighting, he was so low. When we watched back the clips that we had, like for Corey to punch, he had to literally punch down.
Yeah.
And I think that's where he ran into all the trouble. Because while he's getting hit, while he's being hit, but the punches are coming over because he has to punch it so low, which for Omar is not bad. He's a shooter. He's a wrestler. He's got a good pedigree. So him being low just means he's ready to pop off. But it also means he can use that same shot into his like hard jabs and crosses, right? It lets him load up his power really well. Great ideas as long as you don't have someone who can mitigate your pressure and kill your legs, because it does kind of eliminate your ability to check, And we just didn't have the time to adjust to that height difference, is at least what it looks like from film. Obviously I've only watched some phone video thus far, but
I know
the big shots that hit him were coming from like over these like downward punches.
I know you have well-rounded guys, and early on in the fight there was a takedown, and Corey showed some ability to withstand the storm down there. He got put into a tight submission attempt, showed some great composure, getting back to his feet. I think during the fight, Miles might have mentioned, he's like, we saw Kurt Decker in a similar situation a couple of weeks ago where he was in a deep submission attempt, early on. And we're like, oh, he worked his way back out of it, and was able to get, the fight back to the feet at one point. And I thought, I may have commented during it seemed like he was just carrying that right hand just a little bit low, and that might speak to the height difference that he was experiencing there in the fight. But that is where the shot did end up, coming over.
Yeah, we knew this was going to be like a really big test. Corey's been grappling literally for a year, maybe 2. No, seriously, for about 1. He's been training for about 2. Early on, it was pretty much all striking, So we know that Omar was, I think, like a well-ranked state wrestler, and I believe a purple belt. So quite a gap there in the grappling. So it was nice to see that Corey could keep himself safe, because he did get cracked with that left hook right before the takedown. So he controlled, he didn't get ground and pound out. He got his wits about him and managed to work his way back up to a technical getup. So that was a nice test. He showed how much his grappling's improved, that he can survive a grappler with like that much more experience. To actually get back up to his feet. But man, like we rewatched that finish. It looked, Corey shot that one low and was throwing his right hand. Roger's known for a slipping right hand as well, and it landed heavy.
All right. Well, congrats to Omar picking up the win. Look forward to having him back, and best to Corey as well. We look forward to having him back again as well.
Of course. Guys, there's been a lot of video work going on. Like our area is growing quite a bit. Like I myself have had a videographer with me for both Kurt's camps and Corey's camps. Buy One World on Instagram and YouTube, and we did 4-part like behind the scenes embedded series for both of these guys. So check them out. Go on my profile. I believe he might have collabed with Combat Night on some things, but
Yeah,
check
we
these
did.
out. They're 12, 15-minute episodes each, and you get really in depth with the guys. I think it was a great watch. Obviously, I'm
Yeah.
biased because I'm in them, but
No, I love seeing those types of things be done, because it's how you get a chance to see, you know, a little bit behind it,
yeah,
especially for guys this young. You're getting to see the, you know, the very beginnings, see how they train, see, you know, hear interviews from them. I like those videos, and yeah, we collab with them, so you can find them on our page as well.
awesome.
Yeah, we like those you know, behind the scenes and fighter documentary stuff. Just as long as you don't ask to plug up to our board and our equipment, like just stay out of our
Bring
way.
your own stuff. Yeah. Do your thing over there.
Oh, I see. Triana jumped in the chat. He said, "What's up, guys?" He said, "There's a market for us, the young fellers." There certainly is, and congrats to you,
Yeah.
man. You had a great performance. We spoke about your fight earlier.
You're gonna have to watch the replay.
So prior to that featherweight bout, we had a flyweight kickboxing bout. Joao Frauches versus Victor Pujols. Victor picked up the win via TKO in round 2. This was kickboxing, and this one, these guys were throwing down, and this one got gnarly. Victor settled in and just started to, just drop hammers, and ended up. I'm watching some of it back right now. It's he started doing crazy body work, lots of kicks, lots of punches. I think that ended up being the thing that was the deciding factor, is dropping him with that.
I mean, I was watching Joao warm up in the back. Beautiful form, great structure. He looked like a classic Brazilian Thai boxer, like a very Edson Barbosa-esque physique and style. But one of the things that we see a lot from those guys is they don't take damage to the body well, and they tend to get tired for being so muscular and explosive. I saw Victor at the finish. He must have rattled off 7 back-to-back kicks to the body. No setup, just
he was blasting.
Saw they were landing and just ripping baseball bats into Joao's guts.
Mm-hmm.
Disgusting strikes.
And there was another factor there. Joao was making his debut. Victor has a couple of fights, and there's, you know, like a 10-year age gap between them. So there's a little bit of difference of a young man's strength and a grown man's strength.
Yeah. Especially he's 27. He's almost 30. That's a grown ass man.
Yeah.
You know, I was dealing with a teenager who was fighting up until very recently. You know, and some of the fights that came across our table were against 27, 28 years old. And we're like, guys. No, like 21, maybe. Let's keep it around there. If they suck, 24, you know, we'll keep it good, but be reasonable.
All right, moving on. Before that we had a lightweight bout between Ephraim Bey and Rod Ajarma. This went a split decision for Rod, picking up his first win in the Combatagon in MMA.
Yeah.
And go ahead, Ben.
Oh no, Rad came up to spar with us once or twice over the last few weeks. Solid striking, real technical. You know, I didn't get to see his fight for more than a few minutes. I saw he won. I saw at one point he got taken down, but in the first he was touching his opponent up. It's one of the ones I look forward to watching back. I'm glad he got a win. He's worked his ass off, you know, to get to this point.
Yeah, Ephraim was really tough, and I thought probably Rod did most of his best work early on in that fight, and I think probably won it in that first round and a half to 2 rounds, because Ephraim Bey still had plenty to go in the third, and I thought won the third, so he had a lot of grit. But congrats to Rod, gutting that one out and picking up the split decision. Prior to that, we had a featherweight bout between Jaquel Preston and Christian Morales. This one went to a unanimous decision, and Christian Morales won that. That's another. Jaquel has more fights, and that was his 5th fight. This was only Christian's 2nd fight, but Jaquel also the younger man, 19 years old to 26 years old. And I thought these guys both, had their moments.
I caught glimpses on the camera. I caught glimpses from the stream in the back room. They were going at it, but it seemed to be all over the place. It looked like a fun one.
Yeah, Jaquel definitely, in my opinion, landed that had the better striking. If the way that he fought the last 30 seconds of round number 3, if he would have did that early on, in the fight, I think it would definitely could have went differently, because anytime that Christian did taste a little bit of the hands of Jaquel, that's what I meant, bump this and took him down. And once he took him down, Jaquel really couldn't do anything to get back up.
Man, it's the jiu-jitsu, bro. It's the one you have the ground is like an octopus in the anaconda for the same. It's very hard.
Yeah, he couldn't do nothing with it.
Well, and that's the name of the game. It's mixed martial arts, and you might come in with a stronger set of skills in one portion of it, and you're trying to develop the side that you don't. And how else do you find out, where you need the work other than facing somebody that can test you in that area? And like you said, Jaquel was getting better the stand up, and so back to the lab, and he knows where what he needs to work on. Prior to that, we had a catchweight kickboxing bout between Prabhu Sankar and Ernesto Gomez. Ernesto Gomez picked up the unanimous decision. This is one where these guys were, throwing hard the entire fight. Obviously, Ernesto got the better of the exchanges, and some of that was just due to Prabhu was in there. Prabhu was in there the whole fight, but Gomez just had more power and was able to throw strikes that were just having a bigger effect on Prabhu than the strikes that Prabhu was landing on him.
Yeah, I think Prabhu had more volume, but it was just a matter of those things we say. It's kind of difficult to win a fight in the judges' eyes by going backwards. Prabhu was going backwards, the most of the time, whereas Ernesto, he was just continuing pressuring forward. So for every maybe 10 jabs that Prabhu threw, Ernesto landed maybe a good 3 or 4 good hard crosses and hooks.
Mm-hmm. And Prabhu did something real interesting because as they were disengaging, he was able to strike off of anything. It was moving backwards, but he was catch his foot and throw across. Or as they were disengaging, he would throw something. He threw a spinning back fist at one point. So he was super game, and it was a entertaining kickboxing bout for sure.
It says his fighting style is yet to be found. Maybe that's the magic,
right? Where else? I guess he was doing kickboxing, and he looked comfortable. He looked comfortable getting hit and firing back. So hang in there, bud.
Okay.
Prior to that, we had a kickboxing bout at 145 between Nash Hussein and Jaden Fairfan. Fairfan picked up the unanimous decision. Both of these guys were making their debut, and
for kickboxing.
For kickboxing, correct. We never had, or we never know what it's going to look like when guys are making their debut. It's just that.
Yeah. Now, Nash has a handful of fights under his belt. I believe 2 or 3 in MMA, and in those fights, striking was his strong suit. He's also an MMA science guy, so that's kind of what they're known for. Jaden, I've never seen fight before. Obviously, it's his debut. He looked fantastic. When Nash would land great shots, and Jaden never looked shook. He didn't take anything badly. He didn't even mark up from him. But when he returned fire, Nash was sprinting around the cage.
Mm-hmm.
With guys as a whole, we learned this with I just totally forgot his name, but it was Nate Marquardt when he chased him around the cage like this. Caleb Starnes. You can't run, dude. You can't. You got to work on your footwork, guys. If you're getting boxed in, you have to move laterally. If you run, you're losing the round. You might as well get 10-8'd. You might as well get knocked down. You might as well lose a point. If you have sprinted away to safety, you are losing the round. Period.
Yeah, and I think I was saying if I remember correctly during this fight, it was just a matter about Nash just couldn't keep up. It seemed like he was chasing, Jaden around the cage instead of just like cutting angles, especially in the smaller Combatagon, just anticipate where your opponent's going. And then also, too, I believe this was the fight where he was circling into his opponent's power. It's all this, but you got to see, okay, where is his lead foot lineup? Where's my lead foot lineup? Okay, let me circle away from my opponent's power.
Right. Like, so what we noticed was when Jaden would put the pressure on, Nash would get in his bunker, right? This is normal to a certain extent, but if you're on the fence, there's no recovery. You're too tight, right? In the center, you can use it to back out and you can open back up. But when you can't back up, there's nowhere to go and you're locked in your bunker, right? You have to hope and pray from this partially blinded position that whatever you're firing back isn't going to get you cracked. And most people don't have the mental clarity to pick their strikes from within that shell, So these guys have to use their hands. You have to use your feet. There's going to be a time, obviously, where you cover. Instead of a stagnant hold, you work into your picks, and then you can start working into your grabs, your ties, your posts, and your pushes. That should also, along with your footwork, get you some safety. It feels safe in the shell. But if you can't get out of the shell, you're fucked.
Yep.
Yeah.
So prior to that, we had a bantamweight kickboxing bout between Axel Estrada and Massimo Benelujo. This was an interesting bout. It ended up going to a draw, and there was a point taken in the third that obviously had a huge impact on the outcome.
But
right
hard. After, didn't he knock the other guy down? So that just squared him up.
Oh, was that the case?
Yeah, I think it was like 20 seconds later. Like they restarted, bam, went right down.
Yeah, because going into I believe if I remember correctly in this one, going into the third round, I had it 1-1. Like Alex 1 round and then Massimo in the second. So I think that's just what
it was a tight one, man. Yeah, Axel has to get his forward pressure under control. He was throwing so hard or he was reaching so much that he was just rushing in.
Oh, yeah, this way they took the point away because he was initiating the clinch.
He just kept clinching. And even in Muay Thai, if you are a clinch fighter, that's not the way to do it. You're going to get kneed through your chest. So either he was just overdoing it and losing his balance, or like Anthony Ruiz back in the day, big hook, clinch, no counter, break. Big hook, clinch, no counter, break. But
yeah,
they take the point because it's against the rules. So don't do it.
Prior to that one, we had a heavyweight kickboxing bout between Miles Jordan and Tristan Puteau. Puteau picked up the win via unanimous decision. And this was one where...
Yeah, Tristan Puteau, I believe, stepped up on 48 hours notice.
Yeah.
It
was super short notice.
Yeah. Tristan was fighting with his hands down. He was juking. He was driving. He was making Jordan miss. He looked great. First round, Jordan was on him. But after that, Jordan's gas tank was done.
Oh, he was throwing bombs, too.
But that's why he was
hopping.
done.
He was leaping across the... He didn't
everything.
Even, no footwork. He was just Superman punch everything, almost reaching.
Yeah, he only threw a 2-1, a 1-2, and a 2-3. That was it.
And not a
no
single
kicks. And his body was never here. He was punching, diving in. Was exhausted by the end of the first. And Tristan started punking him in the third. Unbelievable.
Yeah. He started getting he started getting the timing down on that lunge and started kicking away his lead leg, and that just sent him tumbling,
Yeah, over and
several
over.
times.
Miles was always game. He was there to throw, but I'm sure there wasn't nearly as much power in those shots as they were early on.
So, congrats to Tristan Pateau taking home the win. And we kicked off the night with a Muay Thai bout between Justin Parkins and Adonis Furman. Furman picked up the win via unanimous decision. This was another pair of guys making their debut.
I missed this one. I was in the back.
Yeah, both of these guys, they must have done like a PKB or IKF, one of those things before, because the way that they, just came on just cool, calm, and collected. It wasn't like a whole bunch of, nervous adrenaline, dump energy where, my debut fight, first fight of the night on the card. Sometimes you just have guys who are A, just timid and don't throw anything, or B, just overzealous and just swing, and then just get, tied within the first 30 seconds. But not at all. Both of these guys are well seasoned and very technical.
Yeah, I think overall we had despite we had a bunch of decisions, but we had a bunch of fantastic contests, super entertaining bouts, and a couple of big time knockouts. And if you haven't seen those, I'm sure those are on our socials. So make sure you're following us on Instagram. I don't think I've put them on our YouTube just yet, but I'm certain they're over there on our Instagram. So make sure you're following us over there. But that was a great night of fights. It was a great follow-up to Orlando and set the table for Tallahassee. Now it's their turn to put on. And
I don't know if Tallahassee can be better than Fort Lauderdale or Orlando.
But it's
if Orlando can't do it, Tallahassee can't do it.
This is why we need to have South Florida versus Orlando, and then the winner of that faces
so we can do Jacksonville versus Tallahassee, South Florida versus Orlando, exactly. And then the winners meet. Or let's do round robins. Let's round robin it. Can we get the same 9 guys from each section and just set them up like you're going to fight in January, April, July, November, and we run that 4 squad bracket round robin.
Well, it's kind of like when I was an amateur when we did the team MMA thing. We were team Florida, Virginia, and all that other stuff. I put together a list. I don't know if you had because we were talking about it. I picked five fights. All right. So to start things, I know I mentioned it before. Both of these ladies, before Nomi got pregnant, and then Christian took some time off. I feel like those ladies there, that would be to me, that's the most wanted ladies card to see is Christian Jackman versus Nomi Ariello. Them. Next up, the champion that just won the belt, Joel Groves from MMA Science Academy. I would say I would put him up against Sean Forbes from Fusion XL. All right. I would do Ian Young from the Jungle Kickboxing versus Victor Alvarez Jr. from Trosei University. Then I would do Ruben Baez from the Treasure Coast Cartel. I would do him versus Lucas Smith, also from Fusion. And then what I think would be a good matchup, it could be either kickboxing or MMA. Canyon Smith from Orlando City Muay Thai versus Carlos Saunier. Because I feel like Carlos Saunier, man, people keep on backing out. I feel like every other time I see his name supposed to be on the card, and people keep on backing out. Canyon Smith, I guarantee you put Canyon Smith versus Carlos Saunier. Canyon is not backing out. If Canyon backs out, I will shave my beard for that one. If Canyon signs his name on the line, he's not backing out. He's not.
Man,
he will not back out.
I was gonna question why you would pick Vic Alvarez when you could pick one of the Sonny brothers, but I see that you had just. I was saving Sonny. But if we're doing a team, you can't have multiple guys from the same weight class. You have to pick one. We got to pick a 25er, 35er, 45er, etc.
No, well, that would be the Canyon Smith and Carlos Saunier. That would be MMA, and then Ian and Victor. That would be kickboxing.
Victor's on MMA now. I think he's done with kickboxing.
If you give him a kickbox, he'll take a kickboxing fight. I think. Like,
It's hard to diddle yourself after a fight in kickboxing gloves.
or how about this? Little glove Muay Thai. Little glove Muay Thai. Ian will do it. I guarantee you, Ian will do it.
I'm sure he would.
Like little glove
You know
Muay
what?
Thai, Victor Alvarez and Ian Young.
You know, I don't have enough time in my day for matchmaking, but you're gonna make me want to do it.
I was thinking on the drive up here this afternoon. I was thinking about
See,
it.
that's valid. You had the time.
Like,
Miles diversifying. He said he wants
yeah, I
to,
didn't just pick jungle. I didn't just pick a whole bunch of jungle people.
It's true. You were very good about that.
Like,
But here's the thing: you didn't pick Ruben Baez to represent South Florida. You didn't
I
have
did.
him on your card.
Ruben Baez versus Lucas Smith.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Wait,
Yeah.
is Lucas Smith the 125er from the jungle?
No, he's from Fusion.
Or sorry,
they
from
could be in the
Fusion.
middle at
Blonde
130.
kid, right?
Yeah, they could be
Blonde
in the
kid.
middle at 130 catchweight.
He's kind of early on, man. He's only got 2 fights.
I don't care. I like
you think
it.
he's that good?
Yeah. He trains
That's
out of Fusion.
crazy.
So a 2-0 from Fusion is really like a South Florida 7-1. Like,
Are you fucking? What? What? You've been living up north too long. You forgot your roots, Miles.
shots fired.
Unbelievable, dog.
I mean, well, you got to think about who he faced. His first fight right out the gate was against Dewan White, who has like 15, 20, amateur bouts, and then his second fight was against Harvey Ridings, who was a European national champion, wrestler.
Right.
So the only thing that's going to come down to the hands.
I don't want to
the striking.
disparage anybody. I like Dewan. I like how Dewan fights. Dewan has a ton of experience, but he is upside down on his record, right?
Yes.
Still a crazy, I think I was on the mic for that, and I was like, why would you debut against a guy like Dewan White?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, this kid's really good. Awesome. And then he fought the 4-1. I keep forgetting his name. He did
Harvey
the backflip.
Riding.
Harvey. Now, Harvey has great wrestling, but he doesn't have finishing jiu-jitsu from what I've seen thus far.
Yeah.
He also has very short reach, and he fights in this very small box. He doesn't fully extend. He presses in. It's like the curse of the wrestler. So almost, in a way, when we try to look at it from an outside perspective, it's almost tailor-made for Smith because of how he fights. He did a great job in there, but it only took Smith like 2 or 3 minutes to figure out how to not get hit by him anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was all Smith. So I'm not questioning how good he is. He's very good. Those are 2 very good guys to beat. I also think Redding could have fought him differently. He fought him very wide open. You don't want to be wide open with a guy like that. You want to shut that shit down. It makes for a way more boring fight, but you don't want to give him room to breathe. Kind of got to grove him.
Well, and to that is neither one of the guys that he faced have the striking of Ruben Baez.
Ruben Baez, yeah,
That's true.
That would be the we have yet to see a lot of striking out of Lucas Smith. He definitely faced 2 grappling heavy individuals, so it'd be interesting to see how would he fare against a more complete MMA fight that we've seen out of Ruben Baez, especially what Ruben displayed last night, striking and the grappling.
Yeah. I'm still surprised Ruben's 135. He looks way bigger than that.
I'm surprised he's only 20 years old. I thought he was.
Dude, that beard? I
on
thought
the
he was
other
early.
end of 25.
So I said last night, he's got a 30-year-old beard.
I thought he was at least able to drink. I thought he was old enough to drink at least.
Dude, so did I. I'm stunned he's only 20. He doesn't even talk like a 20-year-old. What has this boy seen in his life? He seems so much older than he is.
I mean, real life, he's working at a roofing business with his uncle, and he's just got grown man responsibilities.
Right.
Boy, stacking them grown man skills. Like we just said, he's on the cusp of going pro. So
he's got to go pro.
I think he should just go pro.
I like where your head's at, Miles. It's always interesting to hear how Mitchell weighs in on those types of things because he always has a method to the madness as to why something can or cannot work. But
I think it just comes down to throw the names out there, and if the gym say yes or no, like I think at this point that's what it comes down to, like, and coming up with like a name or a dope poster to like really sell it.
It would be cool, but I think it might only work if it's not held in either city, right? Fort Pierce would be perfect because it's about an hour and a half for both groups.
Mm-hmm.
But then how well, I guess the fighters will travel. But then it's a matter about will the Fort Pierce. That's what I feel you can't do.
Well, that's one of the things about Fort Pierce.
Still gotta leave
Fort Pierce is going to sell out no matter what.
Yeah, their
Fort Pierce
fans
is
want
going
to
to
see
sell
their
out no matter
fighters.
what.
Yeah,
Right. And if we only have like 6 or 8 guys in this setup, there's still 12 more fights to go.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we do tons of fights in Fort Pierce. So,
Dude, I love Fort Pierce. Rise of a Warrior, that venue is fantastic.
Yeah, Dan does
and
a
the
great
back
job.
rooms, so big, so good, so well lit, so much room to warm up.
But the internet, so not good.
Bad.
so not
bad.
good.
So bad. Like, dude, they built Fort Pierce. Where's the internet signal? Did they just forget to put it in?
Yeah,
it has electricity, guys. It has air conditioning and an ice cream shop.
Yeah, but on the map, Fort Pierce is like a dead zone for all internet.
Why? That's why the houses are so cheap.
Hey, well, I appreciate you guys jumping on and sacrificing the tail end of the Super Bowl. I'm sure you guys were locked in on.
Is that soccer?
Right, football. But we will be in Tallahassee next week for our first pro event of the year. Looking forward to that. I will miss you guys dearly at that event, but I'll catch up with Miles. I'll see you in South Florida for Rise of Warrior.
Yeah.
I'll see you there too.
All right, I'll see you there as well.
Yeah. Jeez.
And for
the only shows I've missed have been Tallahassee.
Yeah, pretty much.
You couple of Southern snobs.
No. I go to Jacksonville and I go to St. Pete. I'm good for 4 hours. I am not good for 6.
Yeah, I hear you. It's not a 6 hour for me anymore. It was for many years.
Yeah.
And Orlando has been the move.
Yeah, it's in the middle. It's great.
Thanks for chatting with me, guys. Take care of yourselves. I'll see you in a couple of weeks. Enjoy your Valentine's Day. Congrats to Lucas LaRue getting married. And I know Ben's running his business. So
yep, it's parents' night out. Go get nerfed.
Yeah. Take care, guys.
All right, man. Have a good one.
Peace. Buy fight tape.
Are you ready for Combat Night?